At 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin tonight in Enfield, where cuts to the school district's operating budget are causing outrage. Thanks for joining us for the news at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. This budget crisis could cost over 100 teachers their jobs. A rally was held outside Town Hall for community members and school faculty to voice their frustrations. Many argue their children's futures are on the line.
Fox 61's Jake Garcia was at the rally tonight. He joins us live from Enfield with the teacher's message and how town leaders are responding. Jay.
Well, Britt and Sarah, as you mentioned, hundreds of teachers and students as well as supporters rallied outside of town council earlier tonight to put pressure on the council for a fully funded Board of Education budget that would save more than 120 teachers' jobs who have already been handed the pink slip.
Support our schools!
A cry to help save jobs and fully fund education in Enfield.
For years, we've been underfunded in Enfield through the recession in 2008, through COVID. We've gotten nothing extravagant.
The Board of Education says to be fully funded, they need an 8% increase from their current budget, something the town says is impossible without raising taxes.
They seem to be willing to pay what they need to pay to give our kids a great quality education. So why is that such a difficult thing for us in this room?
Nearly a quarter of teachers have been handed a pink slip because of a lack of funding.
Those pink slips actually are non-renewals. They will not be receiving a contract for next year as of today. Now that can change. Town council has to decide where they're at. If they give us to 8.6, all those 121 teachers will return to work.
Shocked teachers say underfunding the Board of Education sends a message.
Like I said, I've been in Enfield all my life and I've never heard a number that high. Well, first of all, it sends a message that we don't care about our kids and we cannot let that message go. But 121 teachers, classroom teachers, class sizes increasing. Right now we're about 20, 25 per class depending on the school or the grade.
Town leaders passing the blame, saying teachers should be taking their concerns to the state.
They should be rallying at the state of Connecticut right now because the state has shorted us over $600,000 in special needs costs, and they are supposed to fund us 100%.
The Connecticut Education Association president, Kate Diaz, not mincing words.
When I started my career, this was the regular bogus practice, and it was demoralizing. It brought down our profession, and it took decades to get out of that hole. So if we let these practices squeak back in, we are going to continue to have an educator shortage that is terrifying, not just for Enfield, but for the entire state of Connecticut.
Now, the town council is expected to meet with the Board of Education sometime next week before making a final decision. They have a deadline of May 20th in order to pass a budget before June 1st. Reporting live in Enfield, Jake Garcia, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Jake, thank you. Time now for a first check on the forecast. Tomorrow's looking beautiful, but enjoy it while it lasts.
We're looking at a rainy week. My mom called me and said, looks like you're going to have a lot of rain after tomorrow. I said, yeah, I know.
You're like, don't rub it in.
Yes, we're aware. Thanks, Mom.
That's our regularly scheduled programming at this point. But yes, tomorrow we're going to shake things up. It'll be warm. It'll be bright, sunny from start to finish. And then the rain and cooler temperatures return. We're in the 60s right now for New Haven and Hartford, 64 in Windham. We actually did get a little taste of that warmth outside today, and we did it without seeing much sun. The clouds really took over. And now if you look to the southwest of us, you'll see a smattering of showers. Those will end up staying to the south of us tonight, so not our issue. We're actually going to see a northwesterly flow bringing in drier air, and that will help chase away the clouds just in time for the sun to come up tomorrow morning. So we're looking at cloudy skies overnight with temperatures in the 50s. And then here's that sun when you wake up in the morning. We're starting off in the 50s by lunchtime, low 70s, and we'll see high temperatures near 80 degrees as we head through the afternoon. Along the shoreline, not quite as warm. We're looking at high temperatures in the lower to middle 70s, but still well above average and a nice day inland, shoreline, hills, wherever you live before the showers return. And not only showers on Wednesday, but there could be a thunderstorm in the afternoon. We'll talk about it, your full forecast coming up.
Rachel, thanks. I-95 in Norwalk is back open tonight thanks to crews working overtime this weekend. Last Thursday, a fiery crash forced officials to close the road for days, but even though traffic is flowing, there's still lots of work to be done. Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc has more on what happens next.
You're looking at the remnants of the Fairfield Ave overpass here in Norwalk, which crews worked hard to take down over the weekend. Now, as they figure out how to rebuild it, 95 is moving smoothly once again. Traffic on I-95 in Norwalk has picked back up after slowing down and stopping for days.
I think today's probably the only day we're not going to get complaints about highway noise.
This after a fiery Thursday morning crash between a car, an oil tanker, and a tractor trailer ended in this Fairfield Ave overpass, bursting into flames. Closing the heavily trafficked highway as crews worked overtime to take down the unstable bridge and prep the roadway for drivers. The plan was to reopen 95 by Monday morning.
But it happened 10 o'clock yesterday morning. They opened this up, and it was just remarkable that this was done in such a quick turnaround.
Too often in government, you have politicians who overpromise and underdeliver. Not the people standing behind me here.
Local, state, and federal leaders say it was teamwork that made the dream work.
Those guys in the yellow vests have given time, effort, energy over this weekend in this kind of symphony of teamwork to make it possible.
That teamwork started early on when Norwalk first responders sprung into action.
We do have procedures in place for this type of incident on the highway, and so the first responders really fell back on their training. They knew what resources to call for, and they knew how to approach it effectively and safely.
And because they were able to contain the more than 8,000 gallons of fuel that spilled out of the truck, they avoided an environmental catastrophe in the nearby Norwalk River.
The success story here is what didn't happen, which is a major contamination of the river and Long Island Sound.
I just hope to God this never happens again. And God, if it does happen again, take out one of those 100-year-old bridges, not one of the brand new bridges.
Now, in terms of repairing the actual bridge itself, the commissioner for the State Department of Transportation says they hope to have those plans finalized within the next few weeks and have a ribbon cutting on that new bridge within the next year. We are in Norwalk. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Julia, thank you. And helping to move the reconstruction process along, Governor Lamont took to X to announce that federal money has already been released for the bridge. He says the Federal Department of Transportation has sent $3 million in emergency relief funds to our state's DOT. That money is an initial installment going toward work on the Fairfield Avenue Bridge.
Tonight, family members of one of the two teens shot and killed in Hartford over the weekend are calling on more action to address gun violence in their city. The shooting happened Saturday night at the Dillon Place Apartments on Hendrickson Avenue. Police identified the students as 16-year-old Aiden Davis of Bloomfield and 19-year-old Levante Brown of Hartford. This family says they're all too familiar with the tragic reality of gun violence.
I lost my son through gun violence, and on the same end of town too, the south end. My nephew isn't doing too well. You know, he was shot.
It really needs to stop. You know, it really does. You know, we've been dealing with, you know, some trying some times in our neighborhoods with these kids and these guns and, you know, the illegal firearms.
These are Hartford's 6th and 7th homicides of the year. If anyone has information about the shootings, they should give Hartford police a call.
In East Hartford, police are still investigating after a man was found dead in Wickham Park. Police say a 31-year-old man was found in the park around 10:30 last night. He was reportedly shot and killed. The victim has not been identified publicly, and police aren't offering details on any suspects. If you have any information on the shooting, you should call East Hartford Police.
Disturbing allegations made against the mother and aunt of a 13-year-old girl. Police say the girl was assaulted last week in New London. This happened at a parking lot of an O'Reilly Auto Parts around 6 at night. Police say there was a video circulating showing the girl's aunt and 10 children ages 12 to 15 assaulting or watching the girl be assaulted. Police believe the girl's mom was involved in planning this assault. We don't know the nature of the alleged assault, but the teens in the group are facing many charges like 4th-degree sexual assault, cruelty to persons, and strangulation, among other serious charges. Police took the aunt, Kiosha Muriel, into custody. Idina Muriel is the girl's mother. She was also taken into custody. The sisters are facing a slew of charges.